Copyright disclaimer. Under Title 17 U.S.C. Section 107, allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. Fair use is permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Nonprofit, educational, or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use. Okay, so earlier I had made a mistake. I thought that Hubbard was stating that his father was a Satanist, when in fact it was Hubbard's older son. I believe that was Ron Hubbard Jr. I think that's what his name was. So I had made a mistake. Hubbard's father was not a Satanist. So unfortunately, this particular video that I got from Doyle 6315, I can't put the captions on there. But hopefully the sound will be good. Hold on here. And I have to go into YouTube's settings and try to figure out how I can put closed captions on there, because I'm not really sure how. And oftentimes I'm using captions, so I don't want captions over captions. So here we go. This is at timestamp 150 in the video. And it's called Scientology's Black Magic. And this is Hubbard talking. He is talking with an interviewer. This is his own words. This is Hubby. This is you guys' buddy, your God.
Cults of the 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th centuries in the Middle East were fascinating. The only modern work that has anything to do is trifle around in spots, but it's fascinating work in itself, and that's work written by Aleister Crowley, the late Aleister Crowley, my very good friend. And he did himself.
Just in case you didn't hear that, Aleister Crowley, my good friend, in his own words.
Splendid piece of aesthetics built around those magic cults. It's a very interesting reading to get a hold of a copy of the book, quite rare, but it can be obtained. The Master Thurium, Therion, The Master Thurium by Aleister Crowley. He signs himself the Beast. Mark of the Beast, 666.
Hubbard stated that Scientology's basic idea paralleled Crowley's doctrine of do what thou wilt. He stated our whole activity tends to make an individual completely independent of any limitations. Aleister Crowley had some interesting things to say about this. He wrote the Book of the Law.
Just really quick. When you see these Scientologists working 12, 15-hour days, probably longer, and they're kind of looking like disassociated, exhausted, underweight, coming from their little bus to the building, back to their atrocious living conditions in the Blue Building and other places, with mice and roaches and video and audio tape and all that. Does that look like a person who is doing what thou willst? And I have a lot of opinions on that. I don't want to get too deep into that right now, but they do not have free will. That's obvious. And all of the policies that Hubbard wrote were to take people's free will away from them. Remember that one. I know what I'm talking about.
Hubbard's oldest son, L. Ron Hubbard Jr., who witnessed his father's discipleship under Crowley, admitted his father was a Satanist and a follower of Crowley.
Well, the funny thing is that the actual truth is about as far out as Scientology itself. Really, the basis of Scientology, which is rather hidden and covered over, is the occult, the deep involvement with satanic powers, and he felt that he was deeply involved with a British black magician called Aleister Crowley, And through putting himself in deep hypnotic trances and the use of drugs on himself, he wanted to become the most powerful being in the world.
Yes, did you hear that? Your buddy boy was taking drugs. You know, drugs. The ones that he forbids or forbade all of his followers to take, even when they're in dire medical condition and they need help. Yeah, that's your buddy right there.
L. Ron Jr. stated that, like Leary, L. Ron Sr. felt that he was helping to complete Crowley's mission. L. Ron Hubbard Jr. stated that his father considered himself to be the one who, quote, came after, and that he was Crowley's successor and had taken on the mantle of the great beast. Scientology actually began on December 1st, 1947. This was the day Aleister Crowley died. It appears that Hubbard...
Sorry, I keep interjecting here. 1947 is a very pivotal number as well. 47 is a pivotal number. If you go to Zachary K. Hubbard's channel, I think he's on his 27th, 28th channel. 47 is used by the FREEMAOSON.
Hubbard believed that Scientology would be instrumental in building Antichrist's kingdom and seeking to destroy Christ at his coming. In a document alleged by many former Scientologists to be written to OT8s, the highest level of Scientology, Hubbard declared, quote, "My mission could be said to fulfill the biblical promise represented by the brief Antichrist period. During this period, there is a fleeting opportunity for the whole scenario to be effectively derailed, which would make it impossible for the mass Maccabean landing or second coming to take place. The second coming is designed, among other things, to trigger a rapid series of destructive events." L. Ron Hubbard was close to Jack Parsons, who was a rocket scientist and co-founder of the Jet Propulsion Laboratory. Parsons and Hubbard worked together to produce a moonchild through Crowley's sex magic, which they hoped to be the Antichrist. Before Parsons was killed in an explosion in his laboratory, he wrote a book called The Book of the Antichrist. In this book, he called for the destruction of, quote, the Black Brotherhood called Christianity. And he stated that the Antichrist would bring all men to the law of the beast, 666, and in his law I shall conquer the world. Aleister Crowley was a deceiver who lied to his followers by promising...
So, does it look like Hubbard was participating in these kinds of things? I've also heard from other YouTubers who have done way more research than I have. I don't want to say too much because it could be called libel or something, but also there's so much overwhelming evidence of the vile things, including participating in dark magic, satanic rituals that could have or might have involved young children and other things that are very, very dark. And if I ever find really good evidence, I will share it. I mean, it's somewhat known in the circles that have knowledge. So anyways, let's go here.
Promising them freedom, and all the while bringing them into satanic slavery. While Crowley claimed that his followers would be free through the practice of do what thou wilt, they were actually brought into satanic bondage, the worst kind of slavery and non-freedom in existence. Notice how Crowley's doctrine of thelema, or will, was really a subtle way of enslaving his followers to Satan. Crowley taught, quote, "They must accept the book of the law as the word and the letter of truth and the sole rule of life. They must acknowledge the authority of the beast, 666, and of the scarlet woman, as in the book it is defined." He said they must accept their will as constituting the will of the whole order. Whatever happened to do what thou wilt, right?
Exactly. That's exactly what I was talking about. And what I'm seeing, and I'm not trying to shade all Scientologists, because I think a lot of Scientologists have goodness in their heart and they're trying to do something good for the world. But what I'm seeing is the hive mind. I'm seeing the hive mind. Anytime something gets brought up and you have to say, what would L. Ron Hubbard do? That means you're not thinking your own thoughts. And I really, really wish more Scientologists the ones that have conscious, not the narcissists or the sociopaths or the psychopaths, because those ones, they're going to sink with the ship. They're going to sink fast. But the ones that do have conscious inside, I really wish they could see what an awful human being this Hubbard was, because he wasn't a good man.
He stated they must accept the crown and conquering child as the Lord of the Eon and exert themselves to establish his reign upon the earth. In the end, Aleister Crowley was totally deceived. He died hopelessly addicted to heroin and enslaved to Satan. Witnesses declared that his last words before his death were, quote, "I am perplexed," and, quote, "sometimes I hate myself." Crowley himself had been totally deceived by Satan, as he was led to believe that he himself would be the Antichrist. And now he was on the verge of death, not having realized his twisted dream. He was said to be very depressed before his death and extraordinarily fearful. Crowley knew that it was time for him to face his creator whom he had so mocked.
Anyways, I'm not going to finish this video, and I will go ahead and put the link in the description box. And I think this video was very well done. This was some type of a television show, but it's very slanted toward Christianity, and no shade to the Christians, but I don't feel like when you're slanting things so harshly from one belief system or one viewpoint that you're going to get a very balanced view. But there's just so much overwhelming evidence that Hubbard was into the Crowley magic, and I actually have a lot of mixed feelings about Crowley, but I do think that what Crowley contributed to the world was very harmful. I don't know if he started out like that, but how it ended, as time went on, he really caused a lot of pain and harm to our planet. So that will be it for now. I'm glad I found that, and hopefully I can find some other good stuff. I'm really enjoying learning about all these things about Scientology. It's not the only focus of study for me. I like to read about other things, but I want to share excuse me, I want to share what I learn about excuse me again. Hold on. Gonna get some water. I want to share what I've learned with you guys, and I hope that that can help. And it's not just documentaries that I watch, but I think this is kind of neat because I can kind of give you my perspective, and then you guys can go watch it for yourselves. Have a nice day. Peace.